And we're back. Today we're going to talk about the 3A state championship contenders for both public school and private school. There's a lot of talent here in North Carolina, a lot of talent in 3A. Kind of take me through, who would you think would be the favorite to win the 3A state championship in public school?
Well, I think you got to start off, on both sides, East and West, but I think on the West, you have Central Cabarrus and West Charlotte. With Central Cabarrus, I think the Daniel twins are so dynamic. And then you also have Jaden Thompson, who's having an unbelievable year, averaging over 20 points a game. He can really score the basketball, but he's really efficient. They're small, but the way they play, they're so scrappy. They really get after it. They pressure the ball. They're a really fun team to watch, and then you got a role guy like Gavin Bullock who can really knock down shots, but he's only 6'2", 6'3", but he's able to guard a lot of different positions. So you got them. You also have West Charlotte, who moved from 4A to 3A. Talent-wise, they're really talented. They got a squad. They're athletic. You have a guy down low like Donovan Raymond, one of the better post players in the 2023 class here in North Carolina. And then with that you have Landon King, right? He's scoring the ball really well. You also have the football commit at Louisville.
Chance Morrow.
So he can really, he's an athlete. He's a Division I level basketball player, right? And then you have the freshman who can really find guys, really good passer and point guard, and Chad Traylor. So I think in the West, I think those are the two favorites. But you also have other teams, like Inca and Hickory, Ben Smith. You have Crest with Mari Adams. He's having an unbelievable senior year. Big time. He's putting up, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. Crest is 14-2 right now. They're playing really well out of Shelby. What are some other teams there in the West that we talked about, with Inca, Hickory, and Ben Smith?
Yeah, I think in the West, it's all going to come down to, who gets hot at the right time. Like who's making shots, especially with Central Cabarrus, who's playing 4 guards under 6'2".
Yeah.
And if they're making shots, they're pretty much going to win each game, because they're so scrappy, they're so tough. They cause so much chaos defensively. They turn you over. They turn defense to offense so quick. Like you said, like it's pretty wide open. But getting into the East a little bit, it's hard to knock off Northwood, who went to the state championship last year. I know you lose Jaron Stevenson, but you still have a lot of talent left on that team, especially with Drake Powell. He's a high major player. He's picked up, NC State's picked up multiple other offers. Fred Whitaker, a guard that slides under the radar for a lot of people, but he does so much on that team, and he's scrappy, and he makes big shots for them. Yeah. And there's so many teams down East. I'll let you kind of talk about it too, of like who else will be a state championship.
You hit on Northwood, nail on the head for sure. With Drake Powell and Fred Whitaker. You also West Carteret, right? They lost to Northwood in the semifinals last year in the state playoffs. They had Jackson Ellingsworth back. He's averaging a double-double. And last year he was dominant. He's doing the same thing again this year. He's really skilled. The lefty can go over. He's great going over the right shoulder, but he has great touch around the basket. He's an excellent passer. Great feel for the game, right?
He does.
And he's fun to watch.
I love about Jackson right now at the high school level, and when we talked about it last high school season, like, he was so good, and then we expect so much from him from travel ball season, but travel ball is like so guard heavy that sometimes big guys don't get the ball so much. But in high school, when you're feeding them, you're able to see how dominant he is on the low block.
Like all the things he's able to do.
Yeah.
Because they'll throw it and they make sure, let's get him the ball. And, he's an unselfish player. He's going to take advantage of the opportunities. He's going to put the ball in the basket, but he's also able to skip it out to guys that can make plays. And then you have your point guard, Rob Cummings, who just does a really good job of finding guys and running the show. He leads their team in assists. Veteran heavy with that squad. And they've been there. They've made a run. And I think they have the pieces back to do it again this year. So you can't count them out. And, also you have out of Fayetteville, you have 71st with James Scott. He's a young post player, but he's really long. He's athletic. He can block shots. He rebounds the ball. impacts the game on that side of the floor really well. And then you have Xavier Tubbs Matthews, who just transferred in, who's really scoring the ball at a high level. He can really get buckets, right? So, I think, they have the talent to make that run and be make a push for it as well. And you also have South Central, right? South Central, you have Nico Taylor at point guard who can, does a good job of creating and making plays for others. You also have Joseph Thompson who, leading their team and scoring. So they're really talented. They're deep as well. I mean, they have a really deep bench. They can really make plays. So they're going to be fun. And then you also have teams like Hunt. You also have teams like First Flight with the Dobie brothers out east that, they score the ball. They shoot the crap out of it. They're going to try to score in the hundreds and get a lot of shots up. And they're fun to watch, right? So that's another team out east that has a chance to make a run. But that 3A, it's a really good division. It's really balanced. So it'll be interesting to see who comes down and gets it done.
It'll be really fun for sure. It'll be really fun. And then, getting into the private schools at 3A,
that one's wide open.
This is wide open.
I mean, there's and that's the division where it's like there's really good teams, but like there's not a clear-cut favorite in that one, like there is in 4A or even in 3A public, where you have Central Cabarrus and West Charlotte, who I think those two teams are kind of like they've set themselves apart. Obviously Central Cabarrus is undefeated, and you got West Charlotte, who they've played a tough schedule. They've lost some to some private schools and some tough games, right? But in 3A private, you're looking at their records. A lot of these teams, and a lot of them are near 500, and there's a couple with relatively good records, but then other ones like thinking about last year, Asheville Christian, Deontay Green transfers mid-year. They had a losing record and went on to win the state championship. So you never know. Something could happen like that again here in 3A private. So let's dive into some of the teams. I think the first team that kind of pops off is Asheville School right now with Gus Yalden, and they have a lot of other different guys. I'll let you talk about those guys. They were at our event a few weeks ago at the MLK event, but they're really fundamentally sound. They really do a good job of running their stuff.
Yeah, I think for Asheville School, it all starts kind of with the Gus bus in a way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to stop a guy who's 6'8". He's skilled. He's kind of like a miniature Jokic in a way. Like he passes the ball. He has the ability to step out, make shots from the perimeter. Obviously at the guard position, you have Dan Saran, who has multiple Division I offers along the way. I mean Radford, Stony Brook, if I'm not mistaken. But the one thing I love about him is he never gets sped up. Yeah. He never gets sped up, and he makes the right basketball play. He has a high IQ. You have Caden Holbrook, who can shoot the ball, knock down shots from the perimeter.
And you can't forget about the Stony Brook commit, Leon Nahar.
Yeah, and he didn't even play the day that we had him at our tournament. Yeah. And it shows you like they're really good, because Leon is really skilled at his size, and they're very well coached. And coach did a great job when he was doing the prep school stuff in the Northeast. Comes down to Asheville and doing the same thing. He's winning. He's building a great culture. And I mean, you can tell that those guys just know how to play the game, and they play it the right way.
Yeah, I think the next team to look at is right now, I think they'll probably be the overall number 1 seed in 3A private is High Point Christian. Coach Cooper has a team that buys into what he's trying to do. He has some, good upperclassmen that really impact the game. You have a guy like Thomas McIntosh and Ethan Smith. Those guys kind of set the tone for those guys. And I think you watch them play, they're very deliberate. They take their time. They know what they're trying to get. So that's what they do. That's how they're going to play. And then you have other guys on that team like Darius Kane, Darius Caldwell, Connor Sawyer at the guard positions. Those guys can come in and, they can make plays and they can knock down shots. So I think that's a really good team that, they're going to be right there in the mix as well. And then you can't forget about Asheville Christian. Obviously, you lose Deontay Green. That's a tough loss. You still have Dante Oliver. and you know, he's a Division I caliber player with multiple D1 offers. Who, you know, he's skilled. He has a high IQ. He can make plays. You have Concord Academy that lost last year in the semifinals. That's a team. Coach Frank Canador, I mean, he plays a gauntlet. If anybody plays a tough schedule or never backs down from any competition, it's him. You know, so you look at their
one thing I love
record,
about
and
Frank
you know,
is like he doesn't.
they have a losing record right now, but it's like they've played teams that other people won't play. They'll play the non-association teams because he's like,
Yeah.
you know, he's like, I'm not worried about it right now. Like, my guys need this. They're going to play against these kind of level players, and then we're going to get to state playoffs, and we're going to be tested. We've played against the best competition we can play against, so I think that'll ultimately help them. They have you know, probably one of the best sophomores in the state, right? And he's going to be a nationally ranked player at some point. Connie Tachonda, 6'9", super skilled. He can do a lot of different things on the court. You know, he can handle it for that size. He can shoot it. He can score in the post. And then you got a guy like Noah Van Bibber who can really knock down shots. He's having a really good year, newcomer to the state from Florida. And then I'll let you talk about, you know, you have Southlake Christian with Micah Hamilton going to Marshall. You know, they're sitting at 17 and 11 right now. You know, they kind of get forgotten about at times, but you have a 6'11", 7-foot guy going to play Division I basketball who can, you know, score in the paint. He can knock down shots. He can alter shots. He blocks shots really well. He's another guy that's really improved a whole lot over the last year. And then you have Forsyth Country Day. Coach Eslick does a really good job. They're deep, they're young, but they have some really talented players. And Gaston Christian. I mean, we've seen them recently. With Jasine Felton, I'll let you hit on those guys.
Yeah, Gaston Christian, I think I think they have a really good shot at winning the state championship. They're talented. They're starting to hit their stride at the right time. They've only lost one game in this calendar year, and they lost to a crosstown rival in Gaston Day. And you know, since they made the coaching change, and like I think Jasine Felton has played really well. He's one of the best 2024 guards in the state. Isaiah Tate's playing extremely well, shooting the ball at a high level. Joe Ryan, he shoots it.
Knock down shots.
Yeah, he shoots the cover off the ball. And those guys, like when they're at their best, they can play with the best. I mean, they upset Word of God at our Christmas tournament. They played Moravian Prep close. Like when they are playing at their best, they'll probably be one of the most talented teams in the state. Forsyth Country Day, I mean, they're led by so much young talent. I mean, they have 3 sophomores who are really good: Iverson King, Draven, Jahan, and then you have a freshman. I mean, he's small, but he gets the job done. He has a great basketball IQ, and Q Williams. And you know, if they get hot at the right time, and you know, Doug's gonna do a great job. He really knows the game. He really holds those kids accountable. And then you have seniors on that team, and Brandon Morgan and Sterling Charles. So I mean, there's so many teams in this 3A division that has a chance to win the state championship this year. And it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna come down to, you know, it's not the NBA where it's a 7-game series. Like that's what makes the high school game so fun and the college NCAA tournament so fun. It's win or go home, and it's only one game. And hey, you got to play your best at the right time in order to win the championship. Normally, the team that's the hottest wins.